Hello, Jeff.
G'day, Chris.
How you going? Good to see you.
Good time.
Jeffrey, how are you?
Jobe.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, looking more like me these days.
That's
Chris.
right, it happens, Jeff. It's got the beard to take a bit of the attention away. I was at East Sandy from like 2 years in under-9s and finished up at about under-15s when school footy commitments took over.
I started under 11s and then finished under 15s as well.
We were runner-up a couple of times to Cheltenham, who were a pretty powerful mob back then.
We made the finals, but Bowie Sharks beat us in a few finals, and then the year after I left, the team won the flag, so missed out.
I remember in the early years that there was a rule brought in that you're only allowed to run and bounce the ball twice. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
And you remember it, Joe.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you had to pass it off because you guys dominated so much. They brought it in, they called it the Watson Judd rule.
I know about that. Not around the Judd rule, I think.
But then I can remember Chris very quickly worked out that what you do is you run once, then you look for someone who can't run. And you run over to him, hand pass the ball to him, and then stand there and say, pass it back to me. Then you'd run again for another 2 bounces and find someone else. And every week Chris would do this the whole length of the ground. Do you remember that, Chris?
The give and go, yeah.
Give and go. And you still do it.
Yeah, that's right. It was a Scotty West special. I actually think I kicked a few to myself as well.
What are your memories of this place, Joe?
I remember just the being covered, the middle covered in sort of that heavy sandy dirt. We were a pretty ordinary team for a long time, but we used to stay and watch, sit in the car with Dad after and watch because Chris was in the year above. Chris would tap it to himself out of the ruck and then collect it and kick goals down the end. So it used to be just as good spectating as it was playing.
And Chris, what's your memories of this area, Chris, this ground?
Yeah, I just remember having so much fun playing footy here. I remember that everyone used to kick torps just about every kick till about under 12s. I remember coming here playing under 9s, then filling in for the under 10s and then filling in for the under 11s and sort of sniffing around to see if I could get a game in the under 12s. And just loved playing here. Used to have a pie for breakfast when I get here and sometimes a jam donut at half time, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And then after the game you'd get the award, you'd get the pie and the jam donut and eat it again.
That's right, that's right.
So, but you'd have 2 though, Joe.
Yeah, I probably was having too many at that stage. I was getting a little bit big.
Chris at the club was one of those players that you looked at and you thought there was never going to be anywhere but AFL. He was a supremely fast athlete, very agile, and had the associated confidence that he could do whatever he wanted, and it was just fun to watch. And even parents would come up from the other team after the game and go, wow, you know, and just a 5-star person, you know, he's a lovely kid. Jobe had that similar confidence that Chris had. He would do what he wanted to when he needed to, and he wouldn't have to think twice about it, and he'd do it in such a way that it was almost like it was in slow motion, and he'd perform, you know, excellently and just be a standout quality above the rest of the kids, and you just knew that, you know, Jobe's career was going to be on a similar vein to Chris's.
There you go. That's cute.
Bit different shape back then.
Hair's doing a bit.
Yeah, hair's getting a bit long there. Is that your first year? Team photo?
I reckon that's year 1. Yeah.
Year 1.
Everyone's happy to be there.
There's the famous photo of the 3 of you. Podgy looks a bit different, doesn't he?
Bit of t-shirts went big obviously in the early 2000s. But Paulie looks in pretty good nick.
Yeah, it hasn't changed much.
Nah. When I used to play juniors, I was as a midfielder, and as has been alluded to before, maybe could have passed the ball off a little bit more.
I was a centre-half back, probably a little bit more of a rotund kid actually growing up, so I used to sort of just sit at centre-half back and not do a hell of a lot of running.
Fellas, there's been a plethora of boys that have gone through the East Sandy Footy Club that have gone on to play AFL and SANFL and that, but who can you remember that's gone on from here that played AFL, Chris?
So Matt Warnock was, I played with him for a little while. He went to Gold Coast and he was at Melbourne as well. I think Robbie Warnock was here, who I'm currently playing with. Who else?
Well, Jack Watts was here. I never played with him, but he's obviously East Sandy boy, and of course Jed, Jeff. You know, your 2 boys were both East Sandy.
Yeah, Ted and Xavier. Yeah. You know, it's actually funny you should bring that up actually, because I was only thinking the other night that Chris Judd, 220 games, Brownlow.
270.
270. Jobe, 200, 250, Brownlow. Ted, AFL Premiership, 200 games, All Australian. Commonality, Jeff.
For me, it's the sort of the family connection and all the local families that were here. I went to Sacred Heart Primary School, which is in Sandy, and just the kids who were there were the same kids who were involved in the footy club. The sisters and your mum worked in the tuck shop, and I guess they're the memories that come back to me.
I guess for me, it's remembering how footy was at a very different phase in your life, and I guess how different you felt about the game. And I just remember just having so much fun playing footy, and I think you can still find that level of enjoyment when you're playing professional footy, but there's so many distractions and pressures put in the way that you've got to really consciously look for it. Whereas when you're a 9 or 10-year-old, you just lob down here, you grab a pie, and you just have the time of your life playing footy, and they're probably some strong memories that come back.